All right, we are here with the All-American Chris Weidman. Thank you so much for joining me, Chris. How is everything going? Fight week is underway.
Everything is going well. I just arrived in Jacksonville in my hotel. We got COVID tested, and now we're quarantined and just playing some video games, hanging out, and chugging water.
What games are you playing?
I'm playing a little NBA 2K right now because my buddy who's with me is a kid named Tom Lane. That's the only game he's good at, so got to play him what he's good at.
Nice. All right, well, yeah, you got back in the win column then with that decision over Omari Akhmedov in September. This one against Uriah was originally set for February, but a little bit longer layoff than you would have wanted after getting some of that momentum going again, or is it okay?
I'm good with it, only because I moved. I had, some family issues. We had a death in the family, and so I think the time off was actually good. Getting my family situated in a new place, and then dealing with it, my father-in-law passing. So I think it kind of worked out.
My condolences on that as well. But Uriah's had Uriah's had a few cancellations as well over the last year, and he's been picking up some momentum again too. 3-fight win streak. What have you made of his resurgence in this middleweight division?
Good for him. It's crazy because we fought 11 years ago and we had completely different paths. But to see us both in, top of the middleweight division, fighting on huge cards in the UFC, it's just cool. It's a cool story. I think he, maybe mentally is in a better spot than has been in the past, which is super important. He's still very dangerous striking. And, his ground game, I'm sure, has got better. But I still think there's a major disparity between me and him when it hits the ground.
And you said on Instagram this week that you're coming for everything. Is this resurgence for you all directed towards regaining that belt? Is that the end goal?
Yeah. Obviously one fight at a time. I got my work cut out for me. But yeah, that's the goal. That's why I'm in this sport, is to become the best and prove that I'm the best. So the middleweight division is heating up, and I'm excited to be a part of it. And I just feel like I'm ready for a resurgence into this middleweight division with a new environment, living in South Carolina now, different training partners, still same coaches, but some added coaches as well. So I feel like a refurbished Chris Weidman.
How has that new environment helped you? What changes have you made, and what differences are there to the Chris Weidman of old? What is Chris Weidman 2.0 looking like?
Well, I just think once I became champion, held the belt for, once after my Lyoto Machida fight, going into my Vitor Belfort fight, I started kind of cutting some corners in my training, and I think it just ended up, really showing in my results, in a lot of my fights I was winning, but and I found a way to lose, and I just think it all came back to my training. It wasn't really like, I can't blame it on luck or anything like that. It's really, I think, based on the training and the effort that I was putting in. So since I moved out here, I really put myself in an uncomfortable position for the first time in a long time, training with different people in different gyms, away from my comfort zone back on Long Island. And so I think anytime you put yourself in those type of positions, you grow. And I've also now been in shape for such a long time. I haven't stopped working out, really since my last fight. So I'm just in a way better spot mentally and physically going into this fight than I have been. Even my last fight against Omari Akhmedov, I wasn't in great shape for that fight, to be honest, with COVID and the restrictions and everything out of New York, and not being able to really have proper training partners. That was a struggle. I was able to get a win on a really tough guy, but man, I was tired and it wasn't pretty. And so I made a lot of corrections and I put a lot of effort in to prepare for this fight.
I mean, how much motivation do you get from all the people who were writing you off after that 1-5 streak? And, like you said there, you weren't even at your best when you beat Omari, and now people are really going to see the real Weidman again.
I get motivation from that, for sure. I kind of like that underdog feel. And I've always had that in me, it always kind of pushes me. So I get motivation from people doubting me for sure.
Yeah, and you're ranked 11 now, I believe, and Uriah is number 9. So a win, in theory, puts you back in that top 10 for what would be the first time in 2 years. Is that another important step for you, or do you not really pay attention to the rankings?
I don't really pay attention to the rankings, to be honest. The rankings don't even make sense to me in my mind, to be honest. Just like even the guys I've lost to, I went up to light heavyweight, so then I left the middleweight rankings, and I lost to Reyes, obviously, and then he, I think, beat John Jones in his next fight, and then I go back down to middleweight, and then they don't have me ranked. And then I beat Uriah Hall, who had a draw with with Vettori, and somehow that you got Shabazian and guys like that ahead of me. I don't really know who they beat to ever be in front of me, but now, so I guess I have been looking at the rankings, but I'm not trying to win this fight to be in the top 10 or, top 5 or anything like that. I'm just trying to win some big fights. I see myself going out there and dominating this fight and then getting a big name, and maybe two, 3 fights until I'm fighting for the title. But I just got to put the work in and prove it.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about the rankings not making sense. And, there's been some movement there. Vettori gone up to 3, I think, whereas Brunson is 5, even though they both beat Kevin Holland. Who do you think has earned the next shot at the title? Do you have an opinion on it? Do you think Robert Whittaker is the man, or does Vettori come into play there?
No, I think Whittaker, without a doubt, deserves the title shot in my eyes. He won his last 2 now. Is that right?
3, I think.
He won. Okay, so he won 3 after losing, and he looked great. His last fight was awesome. Vettori fought Holland after the playbook was already out there on how to beat Holland, and he couldn't finish him. So I don't think he deserves to be fighting for the title. I think he needs some more fights until he's in that. Until he should be fighting Adesanya.
You talked a little bit about your experience moving up to light heavyweight, and yeah, we saw Adesanya move up to light heavyweight as well. As someone who's experienced that move yourself, do you think some fighters don't realize how difficult it is to hit the ground running when you go up a weight class?
Nah, not really. I'm not. I honestly, just for me, it wasn't. I was still in the habit of not. I was trying to do as little as possible as opposed to as most as possible, and especially when you could eat whatever you want. It just wasn't a good mix for me as far as my habits, my being healthy and stuff, and so I just don't think it was the best version of myself going up to 205. If I was to ever do it again, I'd really focus on strength training and putting muscle on, eating healthy. It wasn't a very calculated move. It just happened. And it didn't work out for me, and Dom clipped me with a great punch, coming in. So,
yeah, no, obviously you're back middleweight now. This fight this week, fight week, Uriah Hall. What can people expect from this fight? I'm really looking forward to it. 2 veteran guys, I think. Do you think the fans are in for a treat here?
I think so. I am prepared to steal the show. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to really shine bright on this card, and it's a great card to be on. First time having a full capacity crowd and everything. It's just, I'm super excited about it.
Is that difficult to steal the show when you've got 3 title fights after you? It's not an easy prospect, but it's a good challenge to have.
Definitely not. I'm going to do my best. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a boring fight, and I go for the finish every single time. So my fights will stand out. To steal the show against, with all these champions, it's definitely tough though. So I like the challenge.
I suppose there's this added motivation or incentive of, you've got the fans back. Is that going to give you something extra? You did fight Omari without fans. Is that something you feed off? And you haven't fought more than one, I believe, without the fans, but is this going to be better for you to have them there? Yeah,
I think so. It was a little weird walking out, to my walkout song where I'm used to fans going nuts, and then, as opposed to Ray Longo doing the slow clap. So it's, I'm excited for the energy.
All right. And if you get that victory, how many wins are you seeing? If you put a time frame on getting back to the title picture, or is that not something in your mind you're thinking of right now?
I mean, I think if I'm able to put the work in that I feel like I can put in and be able to demonstrate that, I think it will speak for itself. and it's not going to be something like I'm begging for the title or anything like that. It's gonna be the fight that the fans want to see. So it's not after this fight. It's definitely, you know, after the next one or the one after that.
Are you expecting Israel to still be around when you get back into that title contention, or do you think he will be gone by then? And is that a match you would dream of having? Do you think you're the guy who can solve that problem?
I do love that. Yeah, I do love that Adesanya fight. I love that challenge, and I think I have the tools to do it. I don't know if he still would be champion at that time, though. I think Whittaker has the ability to beat him as well. You know, the way he looked in his last fight, that's a different Whittaker than we've seen when they fought the first time.
All right. I thank you so much, Chris, for taking time to speak to me. Good luck for everything on the fight week, and yeah, all the best, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.